The truth is that there is a mechanism inside of you that is being triggered. There's a string that is being plucked, essentially. The business, the money, the content, the clients, the marketing is not the cause of your loss of inner peace. So if we came here for more peace around those things, if we keep trying to solve that problem, we will never find a solution. We will never find that peace there. And you'll see why. You'll actually find the opposite. You'll find more discomfort, more lack of peace, more dis-ease. Welcome back to The Artful Marketer. I am sharing a recording today. If you're listening to this, you'll get a ton out of it, but there are some things to check out. So if you're not on YouTube, maybe check it out there. Either way, you're going to get a ton. But it is a lesson that I lead in my programs in The Artful Marketer and The Artful Dollar. It's one of our mindset lessons. And I feel like mindset is a difficult thing to tell people what it is. It's something that you can experience. And I look at it very much like I am the fish in the fishbowl. And then someone's trying to explain to me that I'm in a fishbowl. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't see a fishbowl. I'm here. I see water. And so doing this, let's call it mindset work for lack of a better term, is just stepping outside the fishbowl and recognizing, seeing, wow, holy shit, I am in a fishbowl. Look at that. That's fucking fascinating. And from that different perspective, we can grow, learn, benefit in all areas of our life. Obviously, I talk about business and money and marketing. And so it's all going to be tied back to that. But I view the game of business, first of all, I view it as a game that I get to play. I view it as honestly, this is my personal opinion. I don't care where you're at on your spiritual journey. You do believe whatever it is that you are free to believe. I'm not a fan of people that try to tell other people what they should believe. My beliefs are a jacket that I get to try on and take off, and you can try them on. If you like the way it fits, wear it. If not, throw it out. I view business as a spiritual crucible where I am presented with opportunities on a regular basis to practice all of the spiritual principles that I've learned in my life, such as patience, trust, surrender, compassion, gratitude, and ultimately love. I think that the game of business, there's few things on the planet, few things in my life that have taught me those lessons or given me opportunities to practice those lessons in the way that my relationship with money or my relationship with business has taught me. So that's my approach to business. And at the end of the day, I always say, like, I'm not actually interested in marketing or money. They are tools that I use to access something deeper within myself, but they are a byproduct or a side effect. They're not my real goal. My real goal in this podcast, in all the courses I lead, in the business and the life that I lead, is freedom, is liberation. I want to be free. In Sanskrit, they refer to it as moksha, liberation, complete, open, expressive, unbound liberation. So I wanted to share this lesson with you all. One, it's just a message that I want to get out in the world. And two, I know that it's going to help you. It was one of the more popular lessons that I've led. And I do these every single week in the Artful Marketer and Artful Dollar programs. So if anyone's interested in getting more stuff like this, obviously you can always just listen to the podcast and stuff like that. But if you like where this is going, feel free to reach out. On that note, I'm going to share the recording. I will talk a little bit about my experience and stuff like that. I just left it as is, and I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that it gives you more peace and freedom and ultimately more abundance and joy in your life. So enjoy. Welcome, welcome. Always the case that the mindset lesson that I plan on teaching is the very one I need the most in that moment. It's always the case. It's been that way for years, over and over again. I'm like, God damn it. Like I had this planned, and then life is just like, yeah, you want to learn these principles of life, of mind, of consciousness. So I'm going to give you all the ingredients that you need in order to practice them so that you can learn them. What a gift. So it is the privilege of my life to be on this journey with you all, to have the opportunities to learn and then to share what I'm learning, because I'm still learning all the time. And the education, the path that I'm on is one where I get to share and continue to teach others. Like when you're in like a graduate degree, you're at college, but you're also in school. Like that's where I'm at. Like I don't have a master's in anything, but I'm continuing to. I'm in my master's program, I guess, is where I'm at. I don't know. I don't think it's a 4-year program either. I think it's a little bit more than that. But yeah, I'm grateful to be able to share the lesson that we're going to go on today. I think it was titled in the email something like The Snake and the Butterfly. I've mentioned a book, an author, really, Michael Singer, who, he's got a couple books out there. He wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. He wrote a book called The Surrender Experiment. I've read The Surrender Experiment at least 3 times and maybe a half of a time after. He's got another book called Living Untethered, which is the book that I'm reading recently, which is where I kind of started to get the idea of this lesson a couple weeks ago. And so highly recommend just diving into his stuff if you are a fan of that kind of thing. But today's lesson will be just sort of taking some strands from what I'm learning in reading his books. And I happen to have also just come back from 2 nights of ayahuasca ceremonies. Anyone here done ayahuasca before? No? I don't recommend it. It's horrible. Don't do it. Like, seriously, it's terrible. But you do learn some things. And then you get to practice them out in your life. People think there's all these so many misconceptions about ayahuasca. It is mostly a horrible experience, and you don't like come back changed or anything like that at all. You learn some lessons that you then have to actually learn out in your life. Remember, like I tell you all the time, you're not going to learn anything from anything I have to tell you. You don't learn anything from that medicine. You don't learn anything from the mother. You only learn it through the opportunities that life presents for you to practice again and again and again these lessons. So I had a little bit of practice over the weekend with the lessons the intention that I'd set for today previously, and that's what I'm getting to share with you all. So someone smoked DMT. Yeah, there's some similarities in it. I've never smoked DMT. From what I've heard, just a little side quest here. From what I know of smoking DMT, it pretty much immediately puts you into like the alternate dimension, the deepest, visual and experiential expression of DMT. Let's call it that. Ayahuasca is not like that. I've done over 30 ayahuasca ceremonies. I've maybe had 6 of the 30 where like I had visuals and like I have communicated with entities from other dimensions and things like that. The rest of them, you're just nauseous and uncomfortable and learning deep lessons in your consciousness. And it's not fun, and you don't see anything. Like, seriously, you don't see anything. Both ceremonies I did this weekend, I didn't see anything. It was just receiving exactly what I needed to hear, not at all what I wanted to hear. So it's not like other psychedelics. If you smoke it, I'm sure I'm not interested in the visuals. That's honestly not why I do it. I'm interested in the lessons that I get to learn, that I then get to practice, these deeper truths that are unavoidable. And that's what I've come to learn. And regardless of your personal spiritual beliefs or practices or lack thereof, it doesn't matter. These truths are unavoidable. What we're going to talk about today will be completely and entirely relatable and applicable to every single person in here, completely regardless of whether you've ever set out on your own spiritual journey or not. And as always, like it is in the realm of business, of money, of marketing, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So I am going to share my screen, and I do have a hard stop today at 12 o'clock. So in about 50 minutes, but I think that's more than enough time. What we're going to cover today is pretty simple, and we'll have time for some Q&A in the end. Okay, the snake and the butterfly. So I'm going to assume I can't really think of another reason why y'all would sign up for this fucking wild ride of a circus that we have going on here at the Artful Marketer, Artful Dollar. I'm going to assume that the real reason you signed up for this program is to find more peace and ease in your life, particularly when it comes to marketing and money, right? At the end of the day, however we get to that peace and ease is kind of irrelevant. As long as we get more of that, I think y'all will be happy and satisfied. When playing the game of business, and I only look at business as a game, it is just a game. It's like a board game. You ever play a board game and you like get stressed out because like someone else is doing something and it's Monopoly and you're like forget that it's a board game? Yeah, business is like that. You forget that it's a game all the time. You got to remind yourself. So there will be many things that seem to take away your peace while playing this game. The truth is that there is a mechanism inside of you that is being triggered. There's a string that is being plucked, essentially. The business, the money, the content, the clients, the marketing is not the cause of your loss of inner peace. So if we came here for more peace around those things, if we keep trying to solve that problem, we will never find a solution. We will never find that peace there. And you'll see why. You'll actually find the opposite. You'll find more discomfort, more lack of peace, more dis-ease. So learning what the cause of this dis-ease and practical solution to create peace, learning that will serve you in your business and in your life. And that is the purpose of this lesson. I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I told you you're going to come here, you're going to learn to get more clients, you're going to make more money, and you're going to feel more peace around business and money, because that will be fleeting. That will not be permanent. You will experience moments of it, but you will also experience, and the bigger your business gets, the more opportunities for it to pluck those cords, those triggers. It gets worse. Let me tell you, it gets worse the more money you make. And I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just telling you the reality from what I've experienced. So we're going to go on a little journey here. What makes up the human experience, the snake and the butterfly. There's a fourth element that we're going to go into, something called shakti, which if you don't know what that is, I'll give you an explanation. How to access this thing called shakti and freedom from suffering, and then how to practice this in your business and your life. I view business as a spiritual crucible. That's what it is. The game I play, like I said, it just endlessly provides me with opportunities to apply my spiritual practices. So that's why I like the game of business, because I get to practice my spiritual tools and perspectives and use them over and over and over and over again. And that is truly what has given me more joy and satisfaction in my life than the business itself. The business is just, it's a means to that end. So let's break it down. We want to get real simple and real succinct as to ultimately what makes up your human experience. So we got three things here, right? There's the external stimuli, the world around you. There's the sights, the sounds, there's the events, there's the other people. You can say there's the conversations in there. Conversations are really just a series of symbols for things that are lined up in a linear format, and we have all kinds of reactions. You notice how like someone could say one word and that one word could completely rob you of your peace. Likewise, someone can say one word And it's like your heart opens and you just melt and you feel so much peace, right? The power that words have to impact your whole experience. So we can put words into the external stimuli there. Ultimately, they are neutral by nature, but they do trigger these internal reactions, right? Words, they're just sounds, they're just vibrations, and they are neutral except for the meaning and the context that you give them. Same thing goes for everything else around you. Goes for money, goes for business, goes for social media, goes for tattoos. They only have meaning that we give them. But by nature, they are completely neutral. They are without meaning. So we have the external stimuli going on, right? We have the internal emotions and body sensations. So that's going to be the feeling of joy, of excitement, of openness, of ease. Also, the feeling of tension, of constriction, of discomfort and suffering. All those internal body feelings. Often these are located in your chest, in the center, and then you can find them in your neck and other areas of your back. But very often, because thoughts come from your head, from your brain, and feelings come from your heart. You can go into all the science around it too. It's not just the spiritual practice. So in spirituality, we call that the heart chakra or the energy. A chakra is just like an energy center. So all your feelings about the external world come from the heart, and then we have the thoughts. I maybe could have put them in that different order, right? Because we have the external stimuli, and then we have the thoughts about the external stimuli, and then we have the feelings about the thoughts about the external stimuli. So we've got in our thoughts, we have our stories, we have our beliefs, our judgments, our preferences. Note how powerful your preferences are, and you could really dial everything down, every emotion into a preference. You only have an emotion about something because you have a preference for it looking a particular way. And we have the attempts to control life or protect ourselves through our thoughts. So this is every moment of your life. And just take a moment to just be with that. Everything we're doing here, everything we're doing around business, everything you've done in your life, at every moment, the entire experience is summed up right here. So what is really going on, right? If we untangle this web, is we see something, and let's say it's a rope on the ground, and we give some thought, we have some thought, we apply some meaning to that, and all of a sudden the rope becomes a snake. And everything in your life that you react to, particularly that you resist, anything you resist is really taking a rope metaphorically and turning it into a rattlesnake. That could be money, that could be content, that could be marketing, it could be being vulnerable, it could be putting yourself out there. Whatever, it could be people, like over and over again. We're taking something that, remember, external stimuli are completely neutral by nature. We're always taking essentially a rope and we're turning it into a rattlesnake or something that is threatening to us. The construct that gets shaped in your mind, in your thoughts, then the feelings of like, oh God, oh shit, oh fuck, right? We were talking about time yesterday. Fuck, time, right? Time becomes a rattlesnake. And so we're going through our life. And now the wild thing is another person can see that rope, doesn't have that impact on them at all. In fact, they could see a rope and it could be a butterfly. It could be something very beautiful, very exciting, very joyful. And either way, we are taking something completely neutral, everything, the entire game of business. In fact, one of the things I love about the game of business, it's actually something you could say tattoos is a little bit more objective in a way. Like I like this about tattoos as well. Good tattoos are good tattoos. There's no faking it. It just is. It's just good or it's not good, right? And then there's levels of objectivity. Some people say this is better than that, but like at the end of the day, like a good tattoo is a good tattoo, and a bad tattoo is a bad tattoo. There is no faking it. There's no anything, right? Letting Photoshop and things like that aside. the game of business is so neutral. It is less objective than tattooing. It's like either it's working and we're, producing the result, we're producing the outcome for our clients, we're producing the numbers and the revenue. It is so objective. There's no emotion in business itself. We bring the emotion to the game of business. And so I kind of love it for being this very blunt, neutral, completely subjective thing that we then apply emotionality and thought to. And then we get to play and dance around in all those thoughts and emotions.
So apparently 88% of listeners have not left a review or subscribed. And I'm going to get right back to the podcast in just a second. But if you have found this episode helpful and you think that other people would benefit from listening, then all I ask in return is please just leave a quick review and subscribe. It'll take just 1 minute and it might help other tattooers and other artists find this podcast and help them out. So please, it would mean the world to me and it might actually make a difference for someone else. Thanks.
Likewise, there are circumstances, there are people, there are things in your life that we become attached to that are inherently impermanent, right? We have good, I'm never want to blame seasons for our circumstances in business, but there are things that happen seasonally that are out of our control. There are good seasons and bad seasons. There's ups and there are downs. And we get attached to when things are good and we think that it should look that way all the time. And then the minute it doesn't look that way, it's like, oh no, the thing that I love, the thing I'm so attached to, it's going away, and we cling to it. And then we suffer more. And so all we're doing is taking neutral things, circumstances, people, places, sounds, completely neutral. We're taking them and we're turning them into something that we either resist or we attach to. And that is the only cause of your suffering. That's it. There's the preferences, right? I think my business should look this way and I want it to look this way all the time. And then if it doesn't look that way, or if even remotely looks like the butterfly is flying away, it's like sheer panic. Or the other way around. Something dangerous is coming in, some competitor or a new shop opens up right down the block from you. Oh no, that's it. It's all over. Or that feeling when a client cancels on you last minute and you're like, well, I guess I'm a failed tattoo artist. I guess my whole career is over now. I don't know if anyone's had that experience, but I definitely, years into my career, I would just someone would cancel on me for whatever reason, or someone wouldn't like the drawing. And it's like, oh no, I'd react, right? It's neutral. Okay, they don't like the drawing. Great. So let's figure what we're going to do out. But I'd react to it like it's this thing that's about to kill me. And so this is at the core of all of your suffering and discomfort. And we think if we chase more butterflies and shoo away more rattlesnakes, well, then clearly we'll just be happier. But we just end up creating the very circumstances that the very circumstances that our body reacts to that then lead to the suffering over. And I promise you, the more money you make, the bigger your business is, the more of that you will get. And then we avoid that. We're like, oh no, I can barely deal with the rattlesnakes and butterflies I currently have. Oh, if I had more of that. And so that's why I always say it's an internal game, because the more of the internal work I do, the easier and more I can allow the business, the abundance to come into my life, because I can handle different higher levels of snakes and butterflies. But I'm never free of it. But we're gonna create some freedom around it. So I'm gonna introduce you to a term that you might not be familiar with called a samskara. So external elements that our thoughts attach to and create stories around that trigger these emotional responses are also referred to as something called a samskara. Is a Hindu Sanskrit term. A samskara is essentially an impression or an energetic residue left in your system from a past experience. It's like a mental, emotional, or energetic groove that gets worn into your being, your emotion, your consciousness, formed by how you reacted to life, especially in moments of strong emotional pain or pleasure. These grooves influence how you see, how you feel, how you react to the present moment, often without realizing it. And so All that's happening through life is something happened. We had a strong emotional reaction to it. An impression was made in that moment, a samskara, you could say. And then anything that remotely looks like that, we turn into a butterfly or a snake. Boom, boom, boom. And we're just going through life unknowing that that's what we're doing, because very few people practice the awareness. And that's literally what we're going to be doing today, is practicing the awareness to become aware of that. That is what we are doing. That's what's actually happening at all times. So there is a fourth element to your human experience outside of the three that we have here. And this fourth element is something called shakti. So what the hell is that? Shakti is the innate, the inherent, intelligent, dynamic energy that moves through all life, expressing as a creation, a transformation, and liberation. The very power behind your breath, your body, your thoughts, and stillness beneath them, it's beneath all of this, is Shakti. We are only present to Shakti in small, fleeting moments in our lives when we are neither attached nor resisting anything. We are present only to this moment right here. And if you look at your life, if your life was a swimming pool, the moments that you experience Shakti would fill a thimble. And so this little diagram just gives you this, we have the external, the outer ring, the external world, and the thoughts, the narrative that we have around the external stimuli. And then a layer deeper, we have the internal emotional body sensations, the nervous system. And then beneath that is Shakti, the free energy of presence. You experience this while you're tattooing. It's one of the reasons why we get so addicted to tattooing, is because we're chasing this feeling. We want more of that. And I feel like there's something about the I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. It's not the immediacy, the intensity. There's something about tattooing that just I can't be worried about what someone said earlier when I'm in the middle of a tattoo, right? I can't be attached to something happening for me to do a good tattoo. I have to be in that flow state, in that Shakti. And there are other times maybe you're with someone that you deeply love and care about, and you don't even have to speak words. It's just you're present to that deep love and peace. That is Shakti. All of the answers to life, all of them, everything, there is nothing that you could ask, no question you could have that cannot be found in Shakti. Unlimited peace and joy. And now your thoughts and your emotions and all your samskaras will have you think, what do you mean unlimited peace and joy? No way. There's just no way. And deep behind all of that, there is an ocean, an endless ocean of peace, joy, and creativity. All of that is accessed through Shakti. Everything else, all attachment, resistance, all that leads to suffering. This is why the Buddha said life is suffering, because everything that is outside of this deeper layer, this level, is going to lead to suffering. Attachment leads to suffering. It's something beautiful, and eventually it will change. Nothing is permanent. It will go, and that leads to suffering. Or something horrible and scary that we're resisting being the way that it is, that leads to suffering. Everything outside of that will ultimately lead to suffering. It's like, okay, well, that's a bummer. Okay, well, let's hang on. We're going to do something with that. How to access Shakti and freedom from suffering. Acceptance, and sometimes people say that word and you're like, fuck you. Acceptance of the external circumstances is the only way to move through the mental thoughts and feelings into Shakti. Acceptance does not mean doing nothing about the situation and circumstances in your life. It means being at peace with all things as they are, not resisting and pushing them away, not attaching and clinging to them when they will inevitably change. But how do we practice acceptance? It's one of the hardest fucking things to practice. So if you're anyone here familiar with the Serenity Prayer, it's a prayer often recited in 12-step groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, that kind of thing. And again, really doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs. I don't really care. I'm not here to like convince you of anything. I'm just going to share this with you. Do with it what you will. It's not important that you believe any particular thing. I don't really care. But the first line in that prayer, in the serenity prayer, is God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Grant me the serenity to accept. So we want to get to acceptance because we have some idea that if I accept this way, things, circumstance being the way that it is, well, then I will feel more peace or serenity. It doesn't work that way. We must obtain serenity, peace, bliss in order to have acceptance around the circumstances, the things, the comment that someone left on your post, about blah, blah, blah. You can replace the word God with literally anything. Universe, cosmos, Mickey Mouse, I don't care. We must something bigger than yourself. The Empire State Building, okay? It's bigger than you. Let's ask the Empire State Building for the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. It really doesn't matter. We must attain serenity before we are able to practice acceptance, not the other way around. This is one of the things that I was deeply present to in my ceremonies this weekend. It was like, wow, like I've been thinking that I need to practice acceptance in order to feel serenity. And then this prayer just came. I've heard this prayer a million times. I've recited this prayer a million fucking times. It never occurred to me that this is how the words happen to fall. I'm like, oh shit. Well, look at that. That's fascinating. The most reliable access that we have to this thing called serenity is through our breath. We want to talk about the most reliable way. And now there are other things that lead to serenity, right? You can go for a walk, but all of that, anything other than your breath, really kind of requires the outside circumstances to be a certain way. And if you depend on the outside circumstances to be a certain way in order for you to obtain serenity, then you've already lost. You've already failed. Because this isn't about getting the outside circumstances to look a certain way. You could break both your legs. Does that mean that you can't access serenity? No. Right? Just because you can't go for a walk. So that's why really the breath is the only really reliable source that we have of this thing called serenity, that if we happen to obtain it, only then can we accept the things in our lives that we cannot change, and only then can we be freed from the constant rattlesnake, butterfly, hamster wheel. So some science behind this, because I don't fully believe in spirituality or any of that, and I don't fully believe in science. I take from both. I think this is kind of the best way to communicate my personal spiritual whatever life philosophy. So breath controls your autonomic nervous system, ANS. Your breath is one of the only automatic functions that you can consciously control. And I think Jared was mentioning this the other day on one of our Artful Dollar mindset calls, that it's the only subconscious action, like your heart beats, right? You can't just start your heart and stop your heart and slow it down and speed it up. It's happening subconsciously, right? Your stomach is digesting food. You're not thinking, oh, let me just speed up my own digestion. If only, right? If only that worked the way breath works. But your breath is the only, so it's deeply tied. It's like a bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind because it operates on both planes. And so this gives you direct access to your autonomic nervous system, which regulates your heart, right? We can't directly control our heart, but through our breathing, we can. Your stress response, your digestion, your hormone levels. Slow conscious breathing activities activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode, lowering stress, calming the mind, and relaxing the body. There are studies proving this. Not that you don't believe me, but I just like to cite any kind of factual evidence of this. So that alone is just like, okay, cool. This is a big cause of any stress that you have, right? Something happens, someone leaves a comment, a client cancels on you, a random bill shows up, and immediately your autonomic nervous system is triggered, and that stress, that heart rate, all those things go up. Your breath regulates the stress response HPA axis. I don't know what that is, but these are just some of the facts that I've come across here. So when you breathe rapidly or shallowly, common under stress, you stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, triggering the fight or flight response. Slow diaphragmatic breathing from the diaphragm down here reduces cortisol levels. Cortisol is directly related to, it's the stress hormone, if you aren't familiar with that. Reduces this, lowers blood pressure, calms and stresses the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Again, there's more studies proving all this stuff. Breath modulates brain wave activity. So slow, rhythmic breathing shifts the brain activity into alpha and theta wave patterns associated with calm focus, associated with creativity, right? We want to make better tattoos. Remember I said every answer you're looking for in life can be found in Shakti, and this breathing is how we get access to that. It gives us deep relaxation. It reduces mental chatter. Breath directly influences the vagus nerve. So there's actually a really great exercise that I like to do that I haven't covered here, but if you want to also access and calm the vagus nerve, if you make this noise, you kind of hum or groan, you go, and you can feel there's like a little nerve right there in your chest, in your heart energy center, and it starts to soften it. It vibrates it and it starts to soften it. Also, these deep humming ohm type sounds literally bring peace to your nervous system physically. Deep, slow breathing also stimulates the vagus nerve, improving your heart rate, emotional stability, and general psychological calm. And conscious breathing increases the prefrontal cortex activity, literally the thing that you need to the executive function to come up with solutions to the things that are stressing you out, your prefrontal cortex. It increases the activity of that part of your brain. So you want to find a solution. Worrying about it ain't going to get you there faster than this exercise right here. Mindful breathing enhances activity of the prefrontal cortex, the brain area responsible for attention, emotional regulation, decision-making, and inhibiting reactive patterns. Literally samskaras. That's what they are, reactive patterns. So inhibiting those reactive patterns through breathing and increasing the executive function, because the executive function is what you're conscious of using in your day-to-day decision-making. And it doesn't have these imprints. Your executive function isn't what has the samskara. It's the nervous system and the deeper subconscious mind where the samskara lives. And then we're trying to access and use our executive function to draw, to make content, to just send that one fucking email. Why can't I send the fucking email? It's because it's being hijacked by the subconscious mind because of these reactive patterns, these samskaras. So all that, but you're like, man, Ryan, did we just come here to learn how to breathe? Yes, you did. That's literally what you came here to learn how to do. How do we practice this? And this is I'm teaching you this because this will literally impact everything else you're doing in this program. Playing the lighthouse game, making content, making money, drawing, being successful and happy and at peace in your life. There's not an area of anything that I teach in this curriculum that will not be significantly positively impacted by this lesson today, which is making it one of the most important lessons I could teach. The game of business will provide an endless supply of opportunities to practice acceptance. There will never be a shortage of things to practice on, I promise you. And the bigger the game you play, the more opportunities. I want you to have a big fucking business. I want you to have a big old fat fucking business that just lights you up, excites you, just makes your clients fucking ecstatic about the opportunity to work with you, that fills your life with abundance and your family and financial security. That's what I want for you. But to achieve that bigger business and get all those opportunities to practice, all the things that are going to trigger the samskaras, you need to do the inner work. This is why I consider this to be the most important part of business, is doing the inner work. Because of this, we subconsciously avoid abundance because we haven't learned to accept what has already been given to us, the good, the bad, and all of it. If we haven't learned to actually be at peace with what we've already been given in our business, then how the hell are we supposed to sustain anything greater, anything bigger than what we have? This is why people who win the lottery become more broke. This is why people whose businesses start to thrive, they panic and they self-sabotage and they bring it down because they haven't learned to manage to be with, to accept what has already been given to them. And so when that expansion happens, their nervous system fucking reacts, it bucks, that Samskara gets triggered, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves back where we were before. So, step one, awareness. This is something I practice every day as often as I possibly can. Notice when you are reacting to a samskara, a person, a place, an activity, a thing, a circumstance that is just a rope. It's just a rope on the ground. It's neutral, but you are either resisting it or you're attaching to something that is inherently impermanent, right? We just made a whole bunch of money. We had a really great month. Oh, but now this month doesn't look like that month looks like, and this year doesn't look like that month. And you're just constantly reacting. So just, oh, that's what I'm doing. I got it. There's nothing wrong with making less money. There's nothing wrong or right about making more money. There's nothing good or bad. It is all neutral. We bring the meaning to it.
I'm gonna get right back to this podcast, but just a quick marketing tip that most tattooers don't know is studies have shown that at any given time, roughly 3 to 5% of your Instagram followers are ready to buy from you right now, and another 20% would likely buy from you in the next 6 months. So if you're a tattoo artist with over 1,000 followers on Instagram, you're probably sitting on a ton of potential clients that you're just not tapping into. So I want to show you a repeatable process for gaining more followers and turning them into clients quickly, often within 24 hours. If that sounds interesting to you, just hit the link in the caption below, schedule a one-on-one marketing strategy session, and as soon as you book it, I will immediately send you a pre-session assignment to do. You can start doing this today to book more tattoos before your strategy session. Now, I do charge a small fee for this, and I'm going to give you my 10x guarantee. You might be wondering, what the fuck is that, Ryan? So basically, if you don't feel like this assignment and the one-on-one session was worth 10 times what you paid for it, I will give you a full refund. No questions asked. You have nothing to lose. I know as soon as you do this assignment alone, you're going to know that it was worth 10 times what you paid for it. I've already had hundreds of tattooers sign up and tell me that. So if for any reason you are not satisfied, I'm happy to refund you. Now, if you're not willing to step outside your comfort zone when it comes to social media marketing, this is probably not for you. But if you're tired of struggling on social media and you want a repeatable way to attract new clients during any season, then hit that link below, get all the details, and schedule a marketing strategy session. All right, back to the podcast.
Remind yourself that the mental thoughts and the bodily feelings, they're not the truth. There's no truth there, right? They are, but they're not the truth. So a great thing that my first AA sponsor told me, he said, feelings aren't facts, but they're also not fiction. And I love that. I've held that for 12 years. Feelings aren't facts, but they're not fiction either, right? They aren't the truth, but they're not a fucking unicorn, right? They're really here. There are really feelings. These are a natural reaction or a trigger brought on by the samskara, the mental impression. So just remind yourself, okay, I'm aware. I see it and I feel it. And that's what's happening, because so much of our thoughts and our feelings happen without awareness. We're not shining light on the awareness. And that awareness, by the way, that's who you really are. You are not your thoughts and your feelings. If you change your thoughts, do you become a different person? No. If you feel differently about something than you felt about it before, are you a different person? No. You are not your thoughts and feelings. The awareness of them, that is who you really are. Step 2. Breathe. Bring your attention to your breath and slow your breath down to about 6 full in and out breaths per minute, roughly 4 to 5 seconds in, 4 to 5 seconds out, give or take, right? You can also hold your breath for just a moment between breaths. to add an extra layer of attention and intention to your breathing. So what we're doing is we're taking our attention and intention off of the rattlesnake or the butterfly, and we're pointing it at our breath. And so you can just do the breathing, and the little tiny half a second pause in between is just another layer of intention and attention that you can apply. So we're aware, we breathe. Now we can practice acceptance. We can't practice acceptance before we breathe. You just literally burn that into your brain. You cannot practice acceptance until you practice breathing, because breathing scientifically leads to serenity, which then gives you the ability to practice acceptance. After practice for a few minutes, allow yourself to look at the situation that was triggering the samskara and ask yourself, can I allow this to be the way that it is? Can I allow this to be the way that it is? I mean, it is that way. And I could do some things, right? Grant me the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things I can do, but right now they are the way that they are. So can I accept them as being this way? If the answer is no, continue breathing. Practice until you find some space to accept it being the way that it is. It might even be for a second. But you'll notice it. You'll be like, wow, I accepted it. Maybe for just a minute or a second, but I practiced acceptance, right? You want to get better at something, you got to practice it. So the fourth step is to practice. While you might find some immediate serenity and relief from your thoughts and feelings, and you probably will, right? And no amount of money is going to give you that same kind of relief or thought or feeling in the way that breathing will reliably. Also, no lack of money can take away your peace or serenity in the way from being able to practice this. So it goes both ways. While you might find some immediate serenity and relief from your thoughts and your feelings, it is likely that they will come up again, sometimes moments later. Continue to practice awareness of the circumstances, the feelings, the thoughts, and breathing and accepting throughout your day to improve this skill over time. This is the number one skill. To reference my good, completely not spiritual friend, Alex Ramosi, he's been on a kick recently. I hear him all the time. He says, the number one skill that you can develop is the ability to be in a good mood in the lack of the presence of reasons to be in a good mood about. He's the least spiritual person I know, and one of my favorite teachers and mentors and people I learned from. And we're all saying the same thing here. Like, he's saying that, I'm saying this, I'm just approaching it from a different angle. That's all. Continue to practice learning this skill of being in a good mood, being serene in the lack of the presence of things to be serene about. And you'll improve the skill over time. So, before we do a Q&A, conclusion, there is no, just get this over and done with. There is no amount of money. There's no amount of clients. There's no level of success that will ever lead to the feeling of peace and serenity and joy that you are seeking. Give it up. Accept it. Accept that. That's a beautiful thing to accept right there. More money, clients, or a bigger business will only provide you more opportunities for samskaras to get triggered and moments to practice accepting them. That's it. That's all you're going to get. And if you haven't yet learned to practice breathing and accepting the samskaras that you are currently facing in your business right now, why would you want the bigger business? Why would you want more money? You're just going to get more of this. So learning to practice it now, wherever you're at, is the access to the greater and bigger abundance that you're seeking. The more internal work you do, the greater the capacity you will have to sustain success and abundance in your life. My father is a therapist. He's not really a therapist. He's an unlicensed therapist. He's like a consultant. You could say he's a coach. I don't know what the hell to call him. He's a degree in philosophy, and he's a maniac. He used to sell LSD in the Haight-Ashbury in the 60s. He's hitchhiked all across the United States. He grew up dirt poor. He's lived a wild life. And now he's a consultant, let's say. Some of his clients are billionaires, millionaires. He works with people that ain't got no money either. Like, he's goes to Debtors Anonymous and Under Earners Anonymous. You never heard of that one? That's a very unheard of one. He's struggled with money his whole life. But he's ended up doing very well for himself. But his clients, and he tells me this all the time, his clients that are these like ultra wealthy millionaires and billionaires, he said they're some of the most miserable people that he has ever met. They suffer deeper than people that are just earning 50, 60K a year. It's wild. It's wild to think that. But this is why that's the case. And if we can't learn to practice this wherever you're at right now, right here, I wouldn't wish upon you a bigger business, more money, more clients, because all that will do is lead to more suffering. So that's our lesson. I would love to hear what resonated for you today.
The one thing that really kind of hit me out of all that was simply when you said you're just the awareness, like you're not attached to your thoughts and feelings. I've tried meditating before where you kind of just let your thoughts pass, you don't attach to them, and you kind of just look at it from an outside perspective. And I think just saying you're the awareness again kind of just enforced that practice and what that was and kind of categorized it in a really nice way. So that really resonated. And
It's beautiful, really. I'm
um,
so glad that that really stuck out for you.
yeah, I really like that. And I I've been watching a lot of drawing videos, and one guy he talked about Alan Watts. I'm not sure if anyone's heard or what
Yeah.
you subscribe to or whatnot, but this is also kind of reinforcing a lot of the input I've had lately. And I feel like the universe is kind of just bringing all these things and the joy. I keep hearing the word joy a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is really resonating, and I'm really glad, really grateful for this one today. So thanks.
Excellent. Yeah, Alan Watts is fantastic. I had a really hard time sleeping last night, and I put on, there was like a 2 hour YouTube video of Alan Watts talking. It's a great thing to listen to if you ever can't sleep or you're stressed out. Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, and then this new guy he's not new, he's been around for a while, but I just got turned on to him, this guy, Gary Weber. Amazing. Those four teachers. Ram Dass, also amazing talks done by Ram Dass. I mean, I could go on. I've just been devouring the teachings of these people for over a decade, and it has made my life the greatest gift, greater than I could have possibly ever asked for. So thanks for noting that.
Yeah, that was really great. I honestly today I was gonna be like, okay, mindset thing, I'll like get some other stuff done while I'm listening to this, but it just like it was really good, man. I was totally locked in. And yeah, I just wanted to say it's just crazy to me sometimes like the synchronicity of life, you know? I feel like my energy and stuff is shifting a lot and there's just like really crazy things happening in my life and I'm paying attention to them. And this is one of them. Like I've been talking about this stuff with people for the last 2 weeks about like, because I had 3 full day cancellations and I was thinking like, I don't have anything like nothing major dating going on, but it's like, when you're in that state and it's like, oh, if they were like this or they message me, then it's like, it's going to make you feel better. Or
Mm,
if I booked like one sleeve this week, I would feel like better. And it's like I've
mm.
been talking with people in my life about like not wanting to let the outside world, that means the outside world has control over my internal world. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. And it's just like fucking crazy to me how this, and then this is the lesson, because this has probably been the biggest thing that I've been thinking about recently. And then I see this physical therapist and he's really spiritual and he was working it's just crazy things like this and he's working on me. He's like I think you need to breathe more deeply into your new reality. I was like, fuck, dude, like what? I was like, that's so crazy. And I'm just like, and then he said something about like healing my heart. It's really crazy, man. And then this morning, I'm just like saying this because it's like, I don't
No,
know, it's
this is
just like
beautiful.
mind blowing
Sharing the
to me.
synchronicities. I always love the Carl Jung said, synchronicity is God winking at you.
Yeah, man. Fuck, it's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I dug into him a bit about what he meant. And he was like, it's like there's this glass bottle around you, and you need to like expand your life outside of that. It's like, okay. And then this morning, like another thing, you brought up this shakti thing, and I'm like reading this book this morning. It's Dostoevsky Devils, if anyone's read it. And there's this crazy motherfucker in it. He to prove God doesn't exist, he wants to kill himself, or in like a protest against God, and in a protest that you can do things without fear of God, he plans to like kill himself. But then he starts to have this like awakening, and he starts talking about it's like eternal bliss and these like moments of like pure connection and being close to God. And it's like that Shakti thing in this. It's like how I read this morning. I've never even thought of anything like this.
Hmm.
And then it's like we're going through the same thing in this lesson like an hour later. It's just fucking crazy to me, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool, man. So
That's
this
how
this
these things
lesson,
work. Like I said, it's been on my mind for weeks as well. It
yeah.
was it was in the ether before you and I either
Mhm.
ever put any attention on it,
hmm
you know?
hmm hmm Yeah, even the
Beautiful.
AA thing, I didn't know you were in recovery. I've been in and out for a long time.
Yeah, I just celebrated
Well,
12 years
nice.
and on the 13th, yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. We have time for a couple more if anyone else wants to
Hey,
share it. Love hearing from you all. Anya, how are you?
yes. I did not get the very beginning of this.
Mm,
I showed up a little bit later, but from what I did get, I'm so grateful that I was able to hop in on this call, because this deeply, deeply resonates with me. I have this internal turmoil, this dichotomy that I live within because I'm an atheist, but I'm also deeply spiritual.
that's fine,
You
yeah.
know?
You don't have to have it
Yeah.
figured out.
Oh, indeed. No, no,
I don't
absolutely.
have it
And
figured out myself, so
indeed, none of us do, nor will we
yeah.
ever. I have been through these different iterations, as we all have, of ourselves, different iterations of ourselves, where I was studying Buddhism for a very long time, although raised Catholic, and then I switched into witchcraft, which and then but always still leaning into atheism, deeply leaning into atheism heavily since I was a child. I remember being 10 years old and not believing in God, in a
Mm,
Godhead, and but I look at it like, you know, it's like it's atheism is it within this esoteric realm of the, like, you can put anything in there, it's even the godless may find reverence, but not for deities, but for the self as sacred.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
And this, I'm just so grateful that I was able to hop in on that, because I definitely I struggle with that, because
Yeah.
I honor the divine feminine, but as the archetype of the divine feminine, I don't necessarily think of a goddess sitting on a cloud the way a lot of, people think of, like, the Christian God, the Abrahamic God,
Sure.
sitting on a throne in the sky. I think of the goddess, the divine feminine, and the divine masculine is within us all equally,
Sure.
and not necessarily as an external source of reverence, but of reverence of the self, and for that reason, I tended to, for a while, I was leaning into Satanism as well, because it is reverence of the self. I just kind of studied all these different, all these different schools of spirituality, to try and find what works best for me. But it was interesting. I do follow Alex Hormozy, and I adore him. He's amazing. And
Yeah.
and I like what you said today about, how he's the least spiritual person in the world, but he's
Yeah.
also incredibly spiritual too,
I look at him as like a business philosopher. Like
he's like a business philosopher.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
he is.
agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you entirely. It's extraordinary to listen to him speak and talk about that kind of thing too, how you have to find, like you were saying, find the serenity in in in
In
the
the
self.
absence of evidence to be
Yes.
serene about. Yeah. And by
Yeah.
the way, like if I have a definition for God personally, God is a symbol, a placeholder for something I do not understand. That's it. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
only definition I
100%.
have for. I don't have anything else to say about the word God, you know?
Do you know Brian Greene?
I don't think so.
He's Brian Greene is a string theorist. Have you heard of string theory?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he's like the guy that talks about string theory.
Yeah.
And he's extraordinary. He's a particle physicist. And I adore him. And I love the way he describes us, because he describes us as we're simply bags of particles. But
Yeah.
that isn't to say that our particles, as what's the guy's name? I know you mentioned him before. I forget the guy's name all of a sudden, but he's the guy who talks about consciousness and how
Matt Blance?
No, not Alan Watts. He's a scientist. He's a physicist, and his name starts with a P, but it escapes me at the moment. And I know
Um,
you mentioned him before because I remember thinking it, and I wanted to expound upon
okay.
it, but I couldn't remember. But anyway, so he says that, the particles themselves, because how could consciousness come about, right? How could consciousness come about? It's not like consciousness could simply exist without the particles themselves are quarks deeper than our protons and neutrons, our quarks, everything that's within, even the strings within the quarks, could potentially have some form of consciousness. We don't know that to be true, and that's a very
Sure.
extreme way of looking at things. Nor do I necessarily align with that, because it could mean that our particles having aligned the way that they are could then leave room in their in their in
And
their ether for consciousness to then arise.
ultimately, like, there's all this abstract thought, which I love diving into and geeking
Indeed.
out
No, I can fall deep into it. I should
on.
probably shut up at this
No,
point.
it's all good. It's like, what do I do with that? You know?
Right, right.
Like, what do I do with that? That's what this lesson, I wanted it to be so distilled down into what you can do with it.
Yeah, yeah,
What's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
useful for you and applicable in
And
everyone's.
that's breath work.
Yeah.
100% that's breath work. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this lesson. Of all the lessons, I think this one was the one. I love this.
Excellent. I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to share? A 1 minute quick one?
I was wondering if you could expand it for the last like a minute or two on the act of acceptance.
The act of acceptance.
Active.
Active.
Like active acceptance. What do you do actively?
I think it in and of itself is kind of a passive thing that
Okay.
then allows me to be active, to take action free
Okay.
from attachment. So my one of my mottos that I got from one of my coaches is high intention, low attachment. And that is, in a sense, you could say active acceptance,
Okay.
because I can be highly intentional in my actions. I can
Hmm.
take all the actions I want and remove. And so something I always want people to get in the beginning of this program that takes a little while, is hard, is you're going to be highly intentional with the lighthouse game, but let go of the attachment to it turning out any particular way. Just
Hmm.
just get your points and then repeat, rinse and repeat. If you do that, you're doing is increasing the odds that the outcome will look the way you want it to, but you don't know. And so
Hmm.
sometimes people take the action, but they have such high attachment and it
Hmm.
doesn't work out. And they're like, Ryan, I'm doing it and it's not working. And I'm like, how attached are we to it looking up? What's working? Let's look at that. And
Yes.
so if I could, that's the answer that I'd have for you on that.
Okay. Great.
High intention, low attachment. Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome,
Thank you.
y'all. I have a call that I have to run to, but this was such a joy, such a pleasure. And if you have any questions or conversations, I'd love to hear what comes up after this lesson for you all. So be
Hmm.
well, have a great week, and I will see y'all next week.
All right, if you found this episode helpful, one of the best ways for you to help other artists is to share this episode. Leave a review and subscribe. It helps other people find my channel, and you never know what a difference it might make for someone else. Plus, I will forever be grateful for your support, so I just want to say thank you and have a great rest of your day.